Shelley Winter Show live, local, topical, and relevant. Hold on, I'm coming right to everybody. I do want to share this. So one of the fascinating things about Mr. Rick Jackson getting into the governor's race, it makes for it just makes it exciting to me. Bunch of money, up to $50 million being spent. It's going to be spent between now and May. And he's already dropped an ad on social media attacking Brad Raffensperger. It's pretty funny. Dropped a letter to about Keisha Lance Bottoms. Now, this is new for me, attacking both sides, right? Attacking the front runners. And I suspect there's going to be an ad attacking more candidates tomorrow and in the days to come. So for a person that comes on the radio every night to talk about everything in the news, especially politics, this is exciting, right? It's exciting. It's just, because it was pretty much a lazy race. When I say lazy, meaning, Burt was in a lead. Burt kept that lead. Chris Carr and Brad Raffensperger, not really what we would call fiery politicians that were going to go on a war path. So for people like me, it was not much to talk about, not much excitement around it. Now you get a guy in there with a bunch of money who's throwing blows on day one. So it's a little bit more exciting. But I do want to tell you where I think this race came from. I don't think that Mr. Jackson was sitting at home one day and said, I want to run for office. He's backed candidates, backed Jeff Duncan when he ran for lieutenant governor. He's backed different candidates and so forth. And he will label or call him, say that he's a Trumper, but really he's kind of a moderate. What the MAGA group would call a rhino, what I would call a traditional Republican, right? It's whatever side of the fence you want to be on, that's what you'll yell and scream about, right? And, it is what it is. What I find fascinating is I don't think this guy, I'm just speculating, I don't think this guy was sitting around thinking to himself one day, I want to run for Congress. Here's how this game works, and it is a game. Please, best believe it's a game. If my program director were to come to me tomorrow morning or text me tomorrow morning and say, hey, Shelley, it didn't work out, no reason for you to come in, thank you for your service. Let's say that happened tomorrow, right? I'd have to find a job. I'd have to do something to put food on my plate, on my table, and pay my bills, right? So because I know politics, because I'm familiar with politics, because people know I know politics, because I know 99% of the politicians out there, I would immediately hang my shingle out as a political consultant. In other words, hire me and I'll get you elected. That's what I would do, right? I haven't been in that position because I'm on the radio, but if that were to happen, if I were to lose this job, that's what I would do immediately. Now, just like any other business, just like any other job, I have to drum up my own clients. Because people are not going to call me up and say, hey, Shelley, I'm looking to run for office. And if they do, it's going to be people that don't have a lot of money. I need to put food on my table. I have a nice house that I've got to keep the roof over my head. So what do? I would find very well-off, very successful people. I'd put together my group, if you will, which is the people around Mr. Jackson did, and they would pitch him that you can win. And that's what consultants do. And I believe a large part of Mr. Jackson's run for governor, and I'm not saying he doesn't have a chance, I'm just saying a large part of his run for governor that are paying for us, that are running his campaign, many of them were out-of-work consultants. They weren't on Carr. They weren't on Raffensperger. They weren't on Burt Jones. They weren't on any of the LG races. They weren't on any of the ex-Secretary of State races. And when you go past Secretary of States, now you're looking into very little money. And the names around him are big, big names. They're not on Dooley. So where did they go? They found a billionaire in Georgia, a very successful billionaire with tons of cash. And they convinced him he could win. And will he? Can he? Anybody can win. But $50 million is a lot of money that consultants around Mr. Jackson are going to get, win or lose. You could take that however you want to take it, but that's my experience in politics that I've seen. Rich people are always convinced that they can win. And I'm not saying that he can't. I'm just saying I'm not sure that he can. There's a path for him. That path is right now Carr and Raffensperger is in that path. And he's trying to straddle the path with the Trump support, or with what he calls Trump's, that he's a Trumper, trying to get into the path of Burt Jones. But Burt Jones has that path locked down solid. There's no dents in it. That's where his polling numbers are coming from, the base. There's a path, but he's got two guys who have been running since the fall and since the winter who have been in that path for a little bit longer, who, by the way, have won statewide twice. But the consultants around him between now and May will suck down $50 million. It's good work if you can get it. Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back.